How do you deal with jealousy in an open relationship? Jealousy is a compounded emotion, not a primary one. It's a compounded emotion of two emotions. It's the sensation, fear of loss, and the sensation, rage from feeling that fear of loss. It's your ego screaming at you saying, "Oh no, if I gave my beloved choice, she or he may not choose to come back to me. She may not choose me." And so what people end up doing is they geld their partner and prevent them from having those options. Whether by not letting them go out, not letting them wear whatever they want to wear, not allowing them to flirt, not allowing them to speak with other people. Basically, and remember that having choice has a lot more to do with, oh, I could choose this, I could choose this, oh, maybe I want this today, I'll do that. Rather than, oh, I have the opportunity to, I can go there, I could move to Atlanta, I could move to Texas, but I'm not going to because it's a lot of work. It's kind of like, oh, I can date other guys or I can date other girls, but it's a lot of work, so I'm not going to do it. Has a lot more to do with, oh, I could do this today, I could do that today. That's having choice. So recognizing that who are you if you actually loved your partner, you loved your beloved, or your relationship is fundamentally based on love for the individuals involved in the relationship rather than merely an arrangement between two people, then who are you to prevent them from doing the things that makes them satisfied and fulfilled and happy, whether or not you're involved? Exactly. If you love them, you would actually want for their happiness, and if they are essential to you, their happiness will make you happy. So once you've grasped that, what do you do when jealousy does come up? You must master the secret to happiness in life and relationships, and that is expectation management. And expectation management has three aspects to it. Number one aspect, you must manage what you expect of yourself. And we handled that previously when we talked about what jealousy is for you. It's merely your fear of loss. And the jealousy, the rage from feeling that fear of loss, equating to what we refer to as jealousy, the compounded emotion of those two. So when you feel jealousy, what would you do? In that situation, manage what you expect of yourself. Do you still feel jealousy after recognizing that it's merely your ego screaming at you saying if you give your beloved options, they may not choose you, and so you rid them of choice? What kind of love would that be? What would you do? It's important to manage what you expect of yourself. Tell yourself, I love my partner, presumably, so I will want for their happiness, well-being, gain, and actualization, and want them to pursue the things and people that they would like. In fact, I would rather they have options than my being the only option, because the most gratifying sensation you will ever feel is when people do things with you. I really want you to grasp this. This is incredibly important in relationships. This is what I talk about meriting your relationship. This is why, oh, my cat's outside. I gotta let her in. This is why deservedness is a central tenet to my existence. And here's why. It's because the most gratifying feeling you will ever have the sensation of is when people are doing things with you because they want to and like to, not because they have to, not because they're obligated to. The way you facilitate that in your relationship is you get rid of things that are obligation in your relationship when it comes to the relationship. They can have obligations with their commitments and contracts, but when it comes to obligations of their being with you, it's incredibly important you minimize that, mitigate that, or eradicate it entirely would be the best option. And yet there are things you can put into place to be able to do that. And if you want to learn more about that, just check out the link in my bio. I go in depth in expectation management and jealousy and relationships. The second aspect of expectation management, you must manage what they can expect of you. You must manage and communicate with them at the very outset that you can. The way I communicate with them is very important for me, is that I can never be their only source of cock. They must have other options. I will never be abused by being taken for granted. I want to leave alone taken for granted right now. It's a death knell of every loving relationship. But I also want to protect them from being taken for granted. And I do that by encouraging each other having options in the relationship, so that I know and they know that when either of us are with each other, it's because we want to be despite our options. When they're with you because it's the only option, what significance is that? How much meaning could that possibly have? If they're in bed with you because it's the only bed they could be sleeping in, there is no significance in it. They have to be there. You understand? I can never be, in fact, you can make it a rule for yourself. I can never be their only source of cock. And I'll go into this briefly. A lot of the problems in relationships is this pesky thing called sexual exclusivity. Once you get rid of the sex problems, the sex, when you're being taken for granted for sex or whatever, when you get rid of those problems, you can now deal with them as people. You can now interact with them as people and not merely sexual exclusivity contracts. Getting rid of jealousy, you can now live with your best friend. And if your beloved is not your best friend, what kind of relationship do you actually have? Do you understand? How significant is that relationship actually if you can't communicate and act and behave as they were your best friend? Number 3 thing is the inverse of the second one, is that you must manage what you can expect of them. You must communicate with each other that jealousy cannot be a part of the relationship. It must be eradicated and eliminated in the relationship, and that no one must be taken for granted in the relationship. By setting boundaries and rules so that they have options and you have options, that the death knell of every loving relationship cannot exist, which is being and feeling taken for granted. If you want to learn more about jealousy, in-depth deep dive on jealousy, relationships, expectation management, communication strategies, check out the link in my bio. You're going to have a delightful find when you see those videos. I'll see you in the next video. Hopefully that helps. Share this video with other people. You're helping make the world a better place for all of us. See you next time. Bye.